Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to a special meeting of the City of Pearsall. We have the date, September 25th. Time is 7:02. And a roll call, please. Mary Moore. Present. Robert Villarreal.
Present.
Richard Banda.
Here.
Sonia Hernandez. Here. Brenda Trevino. Juliana Hernandez.
Here.
Ben Briscoe. Galen Frazier.
Here.
We have a quorum, so let us stand for our invocation as well as pledge of
Lord, thank you so much for bringing us here tonight. I just pray that you have your hand on this meeting and help us to take care of the city's business in the best way possible and to always seek your will. And just pray for everyone traveling to get here and traveling home. Just keep us all safe. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Seven of the reading, arrival of council and council. All righty, we're moving on to item 4, new business. Discussion and possible action regarding ordinance number 208-09-05, amending the adopted budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2017. This is an action item, and it's a motion to discuss, please.
Motion to discuss.
Have a second.
Second.
Richard had his hand up. All in favor?
Madam Mayor, Council, first of all, we're hoping to get you guys out of here really quick tonight. So we only have the 2 items, and I don't think either one will take very long. We talked about this at the start of the year. You guys passed the ordinance that allows, within budgets for us to move line item to line item so that we can make sure at the end of the year that everything was clean, which has never been done before in the past year. Make sure that every department's clean, every line item's clean, we don't end up with a negative balance in anything. This is the other part of it. Little things that come up during the year in some departments where we couldn't do that. That's what we want to make sure that we put this out for consideration tonight so we can make sure that that no department is up with a negative balance of any kind within the budget so that we're completely in compliance with state law. So Josie has put together Exhibit A to this ordinance, and I'm going to let her go through it with you right now and explain to you why each one of those is necessary.
Okay, real quick. Can you back up a little bit and tell us, you said something about some departments did not have authority, didn't have authority to do that with some departments?
No. Every department within the department can do it. But we had a couple of things that came up during the course of the year where they didn't have anything where they could do it with a line item. You'll see as we go through it, one of the departments, there was only a single thing that was in there, which was salaries and benefits, and we didn't have enough in the line item to cover the benefits for this. So there was no other line item where we could transfer from within that department to be able to offset it, so we're having to go department to department to fix it. There's another one in there where we did, when we created the Main Street position, we did part of the adjustment, we didn't do the final adjustment. So she's going to go through each one of them and explain them, and she'll tell you why they didn't.
Okay, so the first one we have is the tax department. That's account 104. You see that? And in that department, we pay for our collection fees for our property taxes. We have budgeted at $55,000, and we need to increase it by $15,670. The monthly fee has increased, so since it's only a small department, it's being taken out of my department, finance department, for audit services, consultants, meeting and travel, and machinery and equipment. These are all funds that are available that they're just sitting there, so I'm able to pull those funds and cover down the cost. So expenditures don't increase. The overall general fund budget is just to clean up those line items on that. So finance department expenditure will go down by $15,670, and then the tax department will increase $15,670. Anybody have questions?
So right now, this was we had obviously already paid that, but it's sitting in the negative $15,000.
Yes, that is correct. The monthly fee is usually $5,300. They increase it mid-year to $6,000 something, and we do pay on a monthly basis. So now that we're at the end of the year, we already know where we're
the reason for the increase?
Their budget, that's what they
Yeah,
do.
they usually submit something to us mid-year saying, upon review, the collection fee has increased to this amount.
So they do their budget, and then they change their monthly rate. We pay it, and then at the end of their fiscal year, if they have money left over, that's when it's a refund check. They project their costs, and this last year, I think our refund check was 14,000, is that right?
I believe so.
Something like that.
That was the first year actually that we got a refund.
There's a present district now.
And in that department of the budget, that's the only thing we have set. So there's nothing we can transfer within that department to fix it. So we have to go to other departments to get the money fixed.
And then if you move on to utility administration, we have one going in there, which is the utility billing manager. The medical insurance, it was a 3-tier rate, which based on your criteria, it increases. So based on whomever's in that department, it was just on the base rate, and we didn't take the criteria into consideration. So that raised our cost slightly to $13.98. So we are taking from the city pool service building yard and maintenance, from their line item, $13.98 will be decreasing it and increasing to utility administration. And then the next one is the utilities fund, utility administration as well, the liability insurance. With TML, it has increased with the new property value, all the property that we have increased throughout the year. So the total amount is $7,162, including the credit card fees, in which now we offer online utility billing. So we do recoup those fees, but the budget, the expense line item that we paid out has increased as well. So it's $7,162. And we're going ahead and take it out of the utility administration overtime salaries. They have $1,200, which they don't use, as well as a wastewater treatment plant of $5,962. Again, these are all available funds. There's nothing that's going to be taken out of there. We're just utilizing those expenditures and putting them somewhere else. So the overall expenditure for utility funds was $900.
So just to clarify one thing there, that $4,375 increase in the credit cards, we did recover that. But it wasn't budgeted for us to spend more than $4,000 in credit card fees, so that's why we're having to add to it.
And then, is that, when I say present budget, is that what was budgeted, or that's what's in?
This is the original budget. So right now, we have for liability insurance, $21,500, and that's split amongst departments. So we have the utility administration, we have in our general fund, and then you'll see in the gas department as well, trying to hit all the departments. So this is what we budgeted for the original budget when we started the year.
And the same as looking at, so like the wastewater treatment, other services, the 19.6 was budgeted, and
Yes.
we're offsetting that by 59.62. But does that mean?
So your amended budget would come out to 13,637. That's what will be the new amended budget.
And my question is, do we have that left?
No, that doesn't reflect anything we spent out of
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're not redlining those?
No.
Yeah.
There may be a little left.
Right.
It's not going to be. Okay, perfect.
Okay, and then next we have the water production, the water lines, repairs and maintenance. We had budgeted at $75,000, we increased it to $16,600 with all the improvements that we've done, water taps, water line repairs with the seal lines. We usually take those for the PVCs and all the connections and everything to get out of there. So the new amended budget would be $91,600, and we're going to go ahead and take it out of the natural gas repair and maintenance line item, decreasing it by $16,600. So the new amended budget for that line item is $76,900. we need to increase it to 17,215. We just made our last payment for September. So it's going to come out, the amended budget needs to be 1.437. And because of our cost of gas sold, as we're currently at 117, we have available funds in there, so we're only going to increase it by 17,000. So that will offset our garbage service.
Where's the 117?
Oh, I just have it written on the side. The 117 is what we have available.
In natural gas.
Yeah, in natural gas.
And why?
So the amended budget would be 285. We'll go from 30260, we'll decrease it to 17,000, so the amended budget would be 285.
That's natural gas. Why did the garbage increase?
I'm sorry?
Why did the garbage increase 17,000?
17,000, I just looked at the last payment that we just made, needs to be put in the system, and it's about 120. So we have available funds, and we just need to increase it to 17,005.
Do we have a contract with them, and does that fluctuate?
No, it does not fluctuate, so it's probably increase the counts.
Increase in what?
Increase the counts.
Accounts.
And what happens with the garbage fund is we're paying right now, but it's in actuality the services that were collected 2 months prior. So we're accounting that way. So it's hard to kind of identify. Yes, we know how many of these are these accounts, but because we're in 2 months behind, it kind of fluctuates just a little bit.
So is it probably an increase in accounts, or is it an increase in accounts?
It would have to be an increase in accounts because rates haven't changed.
Do you think the rate will increase?
By the contract, I don't think the rate, I don't think there's an annual increase in there, if I remember right. And of course, one of the things we've talked about with them is getting a decreased rate for our senior citizens as well. And of course, first conversation with them, well, we want a lower rate for the seniors. They're like, well, we want an extension, but there's still 2.5 years left on that at that time. We're not going to give you an extension 2.5 years that far away. But we're still working on trying to get the decreased rate for the seniors. We'll get it, it's just take a little bit of time.
If you go to the next page, is the hotel motel fund. So we had funded the Main Street coordinator, which was previously passed by ordinance 2018-0101, which we decreased the street salary to go ahead and contribute to the Main Street coordinator. That amendment had already been passed and everything. There was missing from transfer out to the hotel motel fund and into transfer out from the hotel motel, from the general fund, I'm sorry, into the hotel motel. So that's the 31,670.90. And if you don't recall that ordinance being passed, you can go ahead and pass to the last page. I provided that there to show exactly what we had passed and where that missing factor was. And I believe Mr. Briscoe was one that had stated at one time that there was a transfer out that needed to be done. And we went ahead and
What was that?
said, it was identified, I believe, by Mr. Briscoe saying that we needed a transfer out at that time, but I didn't identify it here. So now that we're going through and reconciling, it is identified that the transfer out needed to be completed to go ahead and move the funds from the general fund into the hotel motel fund to properly account for that, the budget for the Main Street coordinator.
So when you guys passed 2018-0101, you created a position by replacing that position with the old. We just didn't do the transfer at that time to get it in the right account to be able to pay for it. That's all it says is put it in the right account and pay for it.
So it's being paid out of general?
Yes, this portion that was being paid out of general, the other portion was being paid out of hotel motel. But for this coming fiscal year, all is paid out of general. So this was just for this 1 year. And so you guys approved the ordinance, we just didn't do the transfer in the ordinance to create the position.
Just looking at the accounting wise, should the hotel motel funds be decreased?
Okay, so the out and in is backwards, but that's the way the wording is in there because there's some other words in between and it doesn't fit on the spreadsheet. So it's basically transfer into the general fund, or transfer out from into the hotel occupancy fund from the general fund, transfer out from, so the middle step is missing in the wording in there. Because I kept, after her for 30 minutes while I was telling her that's backwards, she's like, no, the line's this long, we have to shrink it down to this long to get it to fit on the paper.
But it's a debit from hotel motel.
It is.
Credit.
It is a debit from general
General.
credit to hotel motel.
To hotel.
But it's just transfer in.
Right, and so it's transferred into hot fund from general fund, but that middle part gets taken out when it prints it out on the form. And it's transfer out from general fund into hotel motel, but that middle part gets taken out and you put it on paper.
So it's gonna increase your revenues because we're transferring out that expenditure from the general fund and we're transferring it into the hotel motel fund from the general fund.
Which is where that position's been paid for the whole time.
I don't know that I can repeat that.
She had to tell me 14 times while I didn't understand.
And
Could you just tell us where that salary was paid from and where the money's going back to?
it is being paid out of the hotel motel fund. General fund is contributing to that.
Part of it or all of it?
I'm sorry.
Part of it or all of it?
Partial, 14,262.40 was transferred in from the hotel motel fund balance to do the whole 45,000. Does that make sense?
Is this?
I'm looking at the original one, that's why.
How come we're not paying?
On page
It's the last
3 or 4.
Yeah, whatever that page 3 or 4. That page.
So the total amount that needs to be increased is the 31,670.90.
Well, it's not really an increase, it was budgeted, just was never transferred. So it's not an increase in anything, it's just sitting in the wrong fund. Because you guys already approved that, 2018 along.
Coming from hotel into general fund.
Coming from
Coming
general
from
fund
general
into
fund
the
into.
hotel. Yeah, ignore the, that, I fought here for 30 minutes while I was wrong. It ends up in the general fund, or in the hotel fund, jeez. Because there was not a department set up for that position, it was moved into the hotel budget, into that budget for the year, because we didn't have a Main Street department. Next year, we have a Main Street department, so the position is funded out of that department. For last year, there was no department to put it in, so we just put it in the hotel motel.
So it doesn't qualify for hotel funding?
It can, but they're very particular about what you do with that. That was one of the things, that was one of the criteria we signed off on when we signed that application, was that we would fund it from the general fund and try not to fund it from the hotel occupancy tax fund. Because how do you show that position is putting into bids? I mean, that's the hard part. And every expenditure we have is supposed to show that it's increasing, people staying here. And so how do you show that? Where if we have an event, we can track it, if people stay here, that kind of stuff, but with the position, it's hard.
She would do probably a percentage.
Yeah, we could do a percentage.
Yeah.
One of the things we talked about, if you remember when we talked about the draft budget for this year, because of all the other stuff we did out of the hotel occupancy tax fund this last year, the splash pad, the civic center, all that, we tried to limit what we did out of the hotel occupancy tax fund for this next year, so we can try to keep some reserve balance in there. Because this current budget that we're in right now, part of my salary came out of there, part of Josie's salary came out of there, Cleo's salary came out of there, and part of Leah's salary came out of there. This next year, we got my portion, Josie's portion, this portion, we took it out of there, so we're not continuing to deplete that fund. So we tried to make that fund, her salary and what we do within that department to make it where it breaks even on the annual revenues that we have coming in, so we're not yearly depleting the fund.
So the next one is the police training fund. We had budgeted 5,000 from revenue from the state. We've only gotten 1604.61, which is the amended budget, so we're gonna decrease it by 3,395. And we're gonna transfer in the fund balance, $3,395 to cover up the $5,000 that we already have budgeted there. This police training fund has been collecting funds throughout the years from the state, so we have in our full cash 10,000 right now, so that's where they kind of get their training out. The next one is the police forfeiture fund. It's income from PD cases. We had budgeted 12,000. We've only received 4,301, so we're going to go ahead and decrease it to by 7,699. Increase the fund balance. This is another revenue that has been sitting there that has been accumulating funds. So we're going to increase the fund balance from 4,780, which will bring it to a total amount of 9,000 versus the 12,000. Meeting and travel expenditure, the present budget was 12, and we're going to decrease it by 4,000. We've already expended 7,864, so that will cover the cost. And then we do have an interlocal agreement with these PD cases, which we give 30% of forfeiture funds once they're processed, so we have to go ahead and lock those funds as well to go ahead and pay them off. So we owe them 12,780, so the balance is at 9,780.
So this was a budget revenue, we didn't get the revenue, so how do we have money to do it like this?
In years before, those funds weren't used. And so there was revenue that came in and it just kept building up in that fund. So there was a fund balance in each one of those revenue sources at the start of the year. So this last year, one of the things we did in working to balance the budget was to remove the general fund portion of the training and push it to the accounts that are supposed to be being used for the training. So they had the forfeiture fund and the training fund sitting there, and they were just continuing to increase money, but then the general fund was paying for the training. So like the police forfeiture fund, we use that to buy vests, to buy cameras, to buy whatever we needed to buy there. And then that training fund, that budget had built up, or that fund built up to over $10,000 as well. So we did the training and that other equipment this year out of the funds that they have and then take it out of general.
So it wasn't really revenue of the fund balance.
Well, so we're supposed to get revenue. Well, we're supposed to get revenue from all the sources. We should be getting revenue. I mean, we estimated about $5,000 in revenue here. We estimated about $12,000 in revenue in sales. We estimated a certain amount of revenue that we would get through tickets, and we get not close on any of them. So now all those things are having to be adjusted, and there's already those amounts in the budget for next year that have already been told you. You don't go over what you bring in. And if you haven't brought any money in, then you're not going to do it. We can't give them a quota system, but we can make them not spend money if they're not bringing money in too. So it's every one of the revenue sources we have through the police department was way below what they were projected.
On this revenue from the state, is it legal for us to take, to decrease the money from
Well,
the
we
state?
projected they would get 5,000 from the state, but they didn't. They only got about 1,200.
Okay.
And so they had, but they had spent that in their amount of training. And so, but they still had the fund balance from years before. So I think this often is the one that comes, there's a portion on every court case, or a portion on every ticket or something.
Yeah.
That goes to the state. For 3 years prior to that money had never even been requested from the state, so our money went to somebody else. So starting this last year, we started.
How that money goes for training and stuff like that?
Yeah, so that money all went to training.
Yeah.
But then in years before, they hadn't used that money just kept building up, and they were using money from the general fund for training. And that fund just continued to build and build. So last year, we put their training into that budget, or that fund, because that's what it's there for.
So there's no other money for training for the police department?
This last year, did we have any other money else?
No, everything was taken out of these funds. But for the next fiscal year, I
think we did.
it is in their general fund and the police department 107. So they will not be utilizing these, they'll go back to the general fund. It was just, we tried it out this one time because these funds have been accumulating throughout for training for the police department. We can't use it for our training, it's only for the police department. And the same thing for the forfeiture fund, the police department is the only one that can utilize those funds. You can amend it, but those funds are utilized specifically for those purposes.
That's the last one. So again, I mean, the purpose of this is to make sure that we don't end up with any negative line items, which we're not supposed to end up with any negative line items. I would say that this will probably be the first time that the Pearsall budget hasn't ended up with a negative line item in their 15 years. So this goes into our, the same thing with the audit and everything else. This is one more step. We're doing that audit, removing stuff from the audit. So we recommend that you approve ordinance 2018-905.
Make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 2018-0905 to amend the adopted budget for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2017. Second.
All in favor?
And I was so that's it.
Just, can I make a comment? Yeah, just running the rough math, $91,000 worth of adjustments on a $12 million balance budget. I mean, again, it's an estimate, it's probably not too bad. Probably not 33. Within the margin of error, I think that's pretty good. That's a rough number, but that looks like $91,000 worth of adjustments. Well done.
All right.
Now, Mayor, before you go into 5, I need an announcement. Okay, good. And the reason I asked to do this before you go into 5 is because I did inform the council members that were not part of the 2017 council. If they didn't want to stay for the workshop, they didn't have to, because they will be part of the presentation. So if they want to go, they can go. But I do want to make an announcement before we get to that point. If they want to stay, they're welcome to stay. If they need to leave, they're welcome to leave. We did have a preliminary meeting with Sept representatives today at 1:30. We had about an hour and a half meeting with them. And I told you last week, it was interesting to me that they seemed really eager to do it today, and I found out why, because they have a board meeting tomorrow. And so they have, their committees meet tomorrow, and then they have a full board meeting the following day. And so they're wanting to, because we gave them the October 12th deadline, or whenever our meeting is, in October 16th deadline, they wanted to be able to have a full opportunity to talk to their board beforehand. They have an attorney who has done a gajillion of these with the oil field, especially along the coast. We had a very interesting conversation with them. If I had to bet right now, I would bet that they are going to be agreeable to it. They did have one, they brought a draft, not a draft, they brought the draft talking points. And of course, they lowballed everything, and I told them no. I think that they are not going to fight the 90%, because they understand that in the long run, it's the best thing for their members. One thing that we did figure out today, you cannot do an agreement in perpetuity, state law doesn't allow for it. So they suggested a 45-year term, a 45-year term with the possibility, if we're putting something there that says in 20 years it can be renegotiated and started again, so you can just keep it rolling. And if in 20 years it's a negotiation, if everybody wasn't happy with it, so that 25 years left on the agreement. So that was, I thought that was a very good, a very positive part of what we talked about today. The one thing that they kind of had a little bit of heartburn on, and we talked about this, just talked about it today, didn't really say hey, whatever, just talked about it, was what happens from this point forward as far as capital improvements go. The reason that they had concern with improvements from this point forward, I understand why they have the concern. So they have 3 facilities right now. They have one in Victoria, they have one in the Valley, and they have this one here. every one of those facilities was built in the county. None of them were built in cities, so they don't pay city taxes anywhere. This would be the only city they would be part of, would be paying city taxes. And they're not even really talking about, they're not even really fighting that. I mean, they understand that. They understand why we're looking at moving out there. All the other counties where they did this, except for here, we didn't really talk about what they got from the county here when they built here. But all the other counties where they did this, every place where they built or added on, they got a 10-year 0% tax abatement. So basically, for the first 10 years of the life of that, they got zero taxes from those counties because counties are looking at 35 years that are left after that. So there's no way we would look at something like that, but we may look at we may consider a graduated system where we look at over, it adds in as it goes. That was one area that they had a little bit of heartburn in was the future growth. Because basically what he says, if you tell us that in the future, anything we do is 85%, he's telling you right now, they'll never do expansion. He said, you're gonna lose any job growth we get out of that, whatever else, because there's no way we can afford it, because when we've done it, we've got 0% funding. He said, so we can go to the valley, or we can go to Victoria, we can expand it, this can be 0%. He said, so, that's something we need to talk about some more. So I told them to go to their board tomorrow and see what they can come up with out of their board. And then we'll go from there. But all in all, very positive. They were extremely positive about doing something moving forward. They see a benefit to doing the pilot agreement. So I think as we move along, if we'll see what they come back with on the major capital improvements and see if we can find common ground on major capital improvements. The rest of that, I think they're gonna have a problem. They really didn't have. They started out at 60%. I don't know. 90 or nothing. They said, okay, fine, change it to 90. So I mean, that wasn't even an argument on the rate. But the capital improvements, you can see some concern with them about that. Now, one other thing that did come up in there today, that's something else that they may ask to be put in this. As you know, we've got the 70 acres out there right beside them. And their facility, the way it's built, they had the original deal and they had to move away from it a certain distance to build something else. And the new facility is pretty close to that property line on that side. And they kind of talked like they might have some interest in putting a right of first refusal on that piece of property that we own there to be able to get it so they have some buffer on the other side of their facility as well. So I have the 70 acres out there that's just sitting there. This might.
Come again?
We
We have 70 acres right on the other side of it, the city owns, where the borrow pit's out there, the brush pile out there. And so what they asked that they might ask for a right of first refusal to be in there, so if the city decided to sell it, they would be first option to buy it. So they can create additional.
Right of first refusal.
Right of first refusal. If we chose to buy it, we'd have to offer it to them first. Doesn't mean they get a discounted rate on it or anything else, it means they get the
They
right.
have first dibs.
Yeah. Just like you do with your neighbors, if your neighbors, sometimes you give your neighbor an easement through your property, you get a right of first refusal if you decide to sell, so that you can buy it and not have a neighbor build right beside your house. I mean, it's kind of the same thing.
I heard something like build a highway all the way to the interstate.
No.
You talk a little fast.
Yeah, so they did kind of talk about that, and I think that, they're a good person. If we're gonna sell that property, we're gonna get X number of dollars for it, we just call them and say, okay, we're gonna get X number of dollars for it, it's yours. And so there's no loss of revenue if you sell it, they just get the right to buy it first.
So on the capital improvements, is that where they're wanting?
Capital improvements is the only thing they were concerned about, anything in the future.
Is that where they're wanting the abatement?
That's where they were wanting to look at a graduated pay scale that would give them some room to be able to do it and not just say 5% right off the bat. So that might be, the reality is if they come back with a pay scale that's over, it's a 7-year scale where it ramps up or something to 70% or 60% or 80% or whatever number it is. The reality is that graduated scale leaves the door open for them to be able to come in here and do something else, to where if we just say 85%, we close that door. And so if we want 85% enough, we'd rather have, a graduated scale of the two new pieces they built out there. One of them was 240 million, and one of them was 250 million. So you think about that, we're saying, no, we don't want you to come in here and build $500 million worth of stuff. Even if you got, 10% of 500 million is 50, that's a big chunk of money. And then if it ramped up every year, you're still looking at a big chunk of money. And that's the thing, I did a number of, before I came here, when I was in the county, we did a number of projects with power companies, solar and wind primarily. Out there, we sit there 60 days of sun a year, so we did a lot of solar projects. And they're always, that first part when they're building everything, that's when they got to be very careful with their capital up front. because they put so much capital into that project up front, and if you add in all this other stuff, and so you'll see most of those abatement programs that go with them, the year while they're constructing, they don't get charged. Right after they get constructed, it's a smaller amount, and then it ramps up because their capital costs go down. And they're actually starting to recover some of that, and they don't have to come up with that amount on top of the capital upfront to build. And I mean, that's an incentive. And he did it numerous times today. He's like, I really want to talk about the economic development part of this because you're killing us on the economic development part. They weren't concerned. I mean, they knew it was that, you know, like they knew it was coming. But that economic development part, I mean, they were very concerned with that part. He said, 85% you're telling us we're never building. Period. Just can't afford it. So I said, so we'll see something from them. We'll get a synopsis in the next couple of days. I mean, they're going to have a board meeting day after tomorrow. Their committees are going to meet tomorrow. They're going to talk about this, and we'll see a synopsis from them on what they want, and we can sit down and look at it and see what we want to do. Right, right now. That's the only thing I don't think that there was. I don't think they were. That's the only thing that they were. Everything else they're not going to find. Everything else we talked about there. That thing I think they're worried about, just because. And I understand. I mean, it's not this way. These deals. I understand why they have that concern.
And what utilities do we have out there already?
We have water out there already. They get their gas in a pipeline that's bigger than the pipeline that comes to the city, so they don't want gas from us. They did make it very clear they don't want any services. I mean, the fire department already services them. They didn't want anything else. So they're not going to ask for any services. Move beyond what we're already doing. They didn't really ask for anything. They didn't really ask for anything, except for consideration on the future bill.
Our county didn't give them abatement, did they?
You know, I don't know, I'm gonna find out. I tried to get a hold of some folks there in the county the day before we went to ask some questions, like, if anybody called back.
I'm almost sure that school taxes were paid immediately. I think they have to pay school taxes.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the laws in Texas, in New Mexico, you can do an abatement, but the school has to agree to it, because the school abatement is part of it. In New Mexico, the counties negotiate for the schools. The schools don't get to pick their own.
I'm pretty sure they paid school taxes the first year.
So on probably 90% of what we talked about today, there was no argument. It was that one part. So let's see what they come up with. But I think it was very positive. We definitely didn't walk out of the room throwing pencils at each other, saying hello, whatever. So I think it was very positive. Pencils, rocks, chairs, whatever.
Just like you.
So as soon as I hear on Thursday, I'll send you guys an email, just letting you know what we got from them, and then the next meeting we'll be able to hopefully sit down and decide if what they come up with is something we can work with, or give a counter offer or whatever. So we'll be able to. They know that the next meeting we have is an October meeting. That's the deadline we gave them originally. The 90-day deadline is not the October meeting. We could actually wait till the November meeting. So if they give us a proposal that's very close, you know, we could just talk about that at the October meeting and say, we're gonna wait a little bit longer because we still got some time. And send it back to them and say, well, this is, we agree or we don't agree or whatever, and still get it done within the 90 day window. Because we had 90 days from the last hearing to finals.
Recess for a minute, but are you guys gonna stay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this is a recess for a minute.
Hey, what is the safety book?
Workshop, second please. Second. All in favor? 7:52.
Okay, so Madam Mayor Council, in front of you are two documents. One that has the black label, is the actual application that was submitted to TCMA for the Council of the Year Award. The second one is a PowerPoint presentation that I put together for you guys to use to give your presentation. Everything in the PowerPoint comes out of the application because that's what they're going to want to hear about, is the stuff that's included in the application. So I looked through this, and it kind of has like 10 breaking points, and there's going to be 6 of you up there. So I think we can kind of figure out how you guys want to divide it up. Some of you were more involved in some parts than other parts, so I think it'll make it a little bit easier.
No, we don't get.
No, I only printed out 8 because there were so many pages. So I broke it down into parts. I mean, you guys can take a section each if you want to take a section each, and we can go through that. And then so if you look, so it starts out with, obviously, you guys will have to introduce yourself, that's pretty easy to do. The first section then would be the purpose, and the first 3 slides. Purpose is because you guys won the award, you're asked to do the session. They ask you to talk about specific things you did that made a big difference, provide ideas for positive change, and answer questions. And then it kind of just starts with basically ground zero where this all started. And then the beginning of the transformation that started in 2015 that kind of culminated in 2017 with everything that happened in the award in 2017. So that would be one section. Then there was 8 different values that we had in the application that are required in the application. Or 7, I take that back, 7 or 8. There was 8 different values and there's a section on each one. So what I did was do a slide on what that value is and what it is in here. So the first section in here was about ethics, so value 1 is ethics. Some of the things that were proposed, some of the problems, and then on the second slide is the demonstration of what the application says was done to demonstrate the ethics of the council. So that would be one section. Then it goes to public welfare before political motives. What the situation was and what the 2017 council did to demonstrate that. 3 is functional policy making. 4 is prudent financial management. 5 is support professional development. 6 is positive relationship among council members. 7 is promoting community awareness and relations. And 8 is the intangibles. And the intangible, our whole section on the intangibles is what happened for Hurricane Harvey. And then there's 2 or 3 slides on that because it took a little bit longer to get through that, and then some conclusions and pictures. What I would suggest is that tonight you guys maybe decide which sections, who's going to do which sections. You guys can take these 2 printouts, go home, look at what's in the slides, look at what's in the narrative in the application, decide if you want something different in the slides or if you want to leave the slides like they are, if you have questions, whatever, and then individually reach out to me and talk about those. We can sit here for 5 hours and go through this as a group and probably never get to the end of it, but individually, if you take your sections and work on your sections, I think by Friday we should have a problem.
So we need to divide the 8 by 5.
Well, and actually, the way I've got it broke up with the introduction as well. And then I didn't do a conclusion yet because I didn't know what changes were going to be made in it. So the conclusion slide is blank. So the conclusion slide, once if anybody makes changes or whatever, then we'll draw the conclusions from that. And have a conclusion slide as well. So really, that would make 10. That would make 10 areas, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. So each one would take 2. I'm sitting up there with you to help you guys. Well, I'm not answering. That's not my job. You guys want me to work, so you get to answer questions. If you get stuff out.
Just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, and just making sure, it would probably be like for the ethics one. Robert probably shouldn't do the ethics one because he wasn't here when the primary part of the application.
I wanted to do 6, which is the positive relationship among council members. I was part of the rules of engagement. I was present for that.
That's value number 6, that would be number 7.
The positive relationship among council members.
Everybody's okay, Robert, doing that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll vote on it.
Be the light on the field value, the intangibles.
Okay, so that'll be number 9 that I have here.
And the conclusion.
Which one, Robert? 6?
6. Use mine.
I would suggest that either Ben or Julio do ethics, because you guys will go through that whole thing. Whichever one is more comfortable talking about what happened. Brenda was here for that too, right? You were here for the hearings, Brenda? The ethics hearings? Were you part of that? Yeah, you were part of that too. So whichever one of the 3 is more comfortable talking about it. I mean, that's going to be something really hard to talk about in there, obviously. I mean, frankly. If somebody asks some hard questions on those questions, that's going to be probably pretty hard to talk about. Because you're going to have a bunch of city council members out there asking, what gave you guys the right to think you could take somebody off city council? So, I mean, there might be some questions on that would be hard. But you guys, everything you guys did was confirmed at every level, so you guys did the right thing, but some of those questions might be a little bit difficult. Of course, everybody was there. I mean, just because Ben took that section, that doesn't mean that Leon or Brenda can't step in, or Mayor can't step in and say, no, yeah. So if the follow-up questions, anybody can participate in follow-up.
This is gonna be an open session, right?
It is open session, it is the first session of the day. You guys are the lead-off batter, so there will probably be a bunch of people show up that day. I'm really excited about that.
That's really reassuring.
Maybe they won't have their coffee.
Which one of you wants this?
With our face. Yeah. Do you want to go in?
What is
It doesn't matter.
Well, we haven't registered, so how y'all decide? Where's the line on the hill?
That's me.
Well, like, somebody needs to lead that.
I really don't do it, we did.
You know, one of the ones that we have in here too is there's another one on. Number 8, the community awareness and relations, where we talked about having the business forum, having some of that stuff. Kind of thought that would be yours as your primary, because you were the one that pushed for the business forum, and you were the one that pushed for the town halls. So I kind of thought that might be your primary. Everyone's got 2, so we'll pick our primary.
So that's number what?
That's number 7, value number 7.
We're doing 6?
I'm doing 6. Positive relationship with local customer relationship.
That's fine.
It doesn't matter, like, do one.
I'm not 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I have to energize that day.
Can you ethics?
Where do you want to,
Ethics.
which one is that?
Number 1. So, Glenn, you want to do 7?
Fine.
You're gonna do 2, so we'll get 1 lined up and then we'll figure out the second round. Public welfare before political motives, Mary, you want to do that one? Brenda, you want to do that one?
Which one?
Public welfare before public employees.
I'll do,
You want to do number 3 also, or number 2 also?
I'll do 2.
Okay.
We got lots of July.
Yours got 3 and 4, your name on 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Functional policy making, improvement financial management. We got 2 bank-oriented type people that number 4 ought to be okay for.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a banker, I bank all my money.
You want to do number 4 also, Dick?
Where you got on me?
Who's doing the 3?
Functional policy making, no one yet, you want to do 3? Brenda's gonna get her by default.
Yeah, I guess so. 3 and 6.
3 and 6, so now we got
5.
supporting professional development, Brenda? Number 5, value number 5?
5.
So that gives you 1.
She said, all right.
She said, all right.
Is that all that's left?
No, there's still 1 more somewhere, still 2 more actually.
8, I don't know what that is.
No, Mary?
8, Mary's got 8.
I'm doing 8 in the conclusion.
In the
8
conclusion.
to 10. So who's doing 9?
I don't see 9.
No, it's 8.
Value, you missed 1 somewhere.
It's just, there's just dates.
The values number 8, value number 8, it says the intangibles within value number 8, be the title of the hill. Should that be 9?
Value number 8, well, the intangibles, I just changed the title, that's still the same thing. That was all, when you get to that section, value number 8, it's kind of like a catch-all, everything else. It was just everything else you could think of to try to get to a point, so I loaded it up. So we have to do
Who's doing the intro?
Mary Moore?
Brenda?
Who's doing the intro?
Yeah.
So I'm doing 8 and
Yeah, Brenda can do the intro. That's the one that's left. That's easy, Brenda. That was easy.
Who's doing 2?
You are. Oh, no, wait a minute, you're doing value 1, no, you're doing
1, 4,
value 1, you're doing.
and 4.
And, okay, so what I have right now is that Brenda's gonna do the introduction, the purpose, and ground zero. That's all one section. And beginning of transformation. Well, the introduction, you guys all introduce yourself, that's not easy. You guys all introduce yourselves. Brenda will do purpose, ground zero, and beginning of transformation. Value one is Ben, so the next two slides, value one, and ethics demonstrated is Ben.
Okay, so somebody else is doing 5, Robert's doing 5?
Yeah.
Value two, public welfare before political motives, and the slide that goes after that is Luna. Value three, functional policy making, the slide that goes after is Robert. Value four, prudent financial management, the slide that goes after is Ben. Value five, support professional development, the slide that goes after is Brenda. Value six, positive relationships among council members, and the slide that goes after is Robert.
Oh, my.
Value seven, promoting community awareness and relations, and the slide that goes after is Luna. Value eight, the intangibles, and the next three slides after it are, well, actually, then it would be the mayor and then the conclusion. And then that last slide with the pictures, we'll just put up there while I answer questions. That's just put up on the screen while we get questions and answers. Put some notes on it. All that'll be. Now, this session is scheduled for an hour and 30 minutes. An hour.
want to say to us about an hour and a half.
I think it is slotted for an hour and a half. So we're not, it's not a horse race to get through your section. I mean, we're going to.
So we each have 9 minutes per section.
Pretty much. And then, well, you got time for questions, so you can cut it down and say if you got 8 minutes per section, you got some time for questions afterwards. Introductions isn't gonna take 9 minutes, unless you guys got a big old story you wanna tell about yourselves. Now, one other thing of note for that day, and I wanna do this now before we forget, Wednesday at the conference is City Shirt Day. And so we're gonna look really silly if we're the only ones not wearing the same shirts while we're sitting up there in front of everybody. So you guys need to pick which shirt you want to wear that day now, whether it's gonna be black or green or whatever. No, red, white, blue, whatever, pick them now, so we'll all write it down our notes, and we remember that day, that's the shirt we're wearing. Green? Okay.
That's the first day.
That's Wednesday. So that's city shirt day at the conference. And then if we're the only city that doesn't have matching colors, we're gonna look really weird, since we're the.
You don't like that white one.
Since we're the lead-off session.
And is it first day?
Wednesday. Wednesday is the first full day of the conference. And so in the morning, you have the open general session, which takes pretty much a big chunk of the whole morning. And then you have the awards luncheon after that, which I'm positive, I remember they always introduce the city of the year, the city council of the year at that awards. You don't get another award, but they introduce all the TCML winners at that luncheon as well. And then as soon as that luncheon is over, that's when the first session starts. So all of you have already taken care of your speaker registration, so they have your name and a one sentence brief about you, whether it was the year you got elected or whatever. That's already taken care of. Everything's taken care of except for me submitting this to them, so that they can have a little course and they'll show up to the session.
Man,
Should we like wear khaki pants or would it be what?
Jeans, it's down, it's,
For work.
For work.
I'm just asking for
blue
work.
jeans and boots.
Blue jeans.
Can you have green hats?
I was going to ask you in regards to the presentation, I know you have PowerPoint, I mean, the PowerPoint, if you have bullets, do we just read the bullets?
Well, so what I would suggest, I mean, so the reason I put this together this way is, so you've got your sections. Now you can go look at your sections and you can look at the application, because it's a lot more spelled out in here.
So you would suggest maybe gather a little bit from this section and just.
Yeah. Or if you see something in here that you think would be better in there, just let me know. I'll take some bullets too. I mean, this is your presentation. I'm just trying to give you something to work with. So if you see something in the application that you like better than what's in the PowerPoint, tell me, we'll change it. And so today's Tuesday, so next Tuesday I need to email the final presentation to them so that they can get it all taken care of. They've actually wanted stuff from speakers forever ago, and nobody submitted anything to them because everybody's a budget. So they're still dealing with budgets, and this is their last concern right now. So I did email the lady and tell her we were gonna have a meeting tonight, we have it for early next week, so that's fine.
And our retreat is before this.
Our retreat is Saturday,
This Saturday?
next Saturday. So it's before the conference, but yeah, so we can talk about, if you guys have some questions, we can talk about it there. But I do need to have a final PowerPoint to them before that. And then the other thing that we have to do is provide handouts, and so before we leave, we'll print out the handouts, whatever the final version is, we'll print out the handouts with the note handouts on two-sided, where they can take notes, according to the slideshow, we'll take notes, so we'll have those. As you're going through, if you have any questions, text me, call me, we'll get through it. It's gonna be a whole lot easier for me, now that this is broken out into sections, it'll be a whole lot easier for me to work with each one of you individually on that section than it will be to try to do the whole thing at once.
Pete, this is very good. You did a good job. Just looking through this is really going to help.
I mean, and those, and the things, the bullets that are in there are the things that were in the application, that's what TCMA saw, that's what TML saw, and they approved the award, so that's, I mean, those are the things, are the reason that they picked the 2017 council, so. Whatever you guys want to do from there.
I need one of those microphone things that somebody tells me.
Your first one, Randy, you probably can pretty much just follow this. I mean, so your section, one, the purpose, the ground zero, and the beginning of transportation, that's not it. So you can pretty much just follow those. I mean, that's gonna be a quick section to get through, and then get into two, and turn over to Ben, and quit shaking, and be ready for your next one.
Oh, my gosh.
You do
If you think my leg is shaking down here when I'm just.
We have two of the, we have two of the tables.
Yes, we have two tables.
If we take those and put them on the tables, the nerve is shaking. We have 6 footer and 8 footer, correct? So, just for you, Brenda, we have the table covers.
Okay.
They say City of Pearsall on the front, we'll take those so everybody won't see your foot going like this. We'll cover those tables real quick. And I think we can probably make that fit.
Oh, we're not going to stand up on podium?
No, we'll have they'll set it up as a table, the TCMA president, or the current TCMA president will be the moderator. So he'll turn it over to you guys to do the presentation. When you're done with the presentation, whatever time's left, he'll have for questions and answers, and he'll moderate between you guys and the person asking the questions. So that'll make it a little bit easier. Chris will fit in right here, Pearsall, just fine. Chris is a pretty good guy. So he's pretty easy to work with. You guys will be fine. It's gonna be fine. And if you work right through it, and you get done with the presentation in 45 minutes, just give us more time for questions. They'll have questions. I mean, you guys have all said in, most of you said in those meetings before, if they've got leftover time, everybody's always asking questions, and if there's not leftover time, they're waiting for you when you get done to ask more questions. There's always people that are asking questions. And then some of the stuff in your guys' application, the ethics, some of that stuff, they're gonna want to ask a lot of questions, guaranteed. So, there'll be a lot of questions. Now, you guys all have your parts, when it comes to the questions, everybody can answer the questions. It doesn't just have to be the person who did that section, everybody can just make questions. And maybe 2 or 3 people answer a question. So you have a little bit different perspective on it. One answers it, and you have something else to add to it, then add to it. There's just like 5,000 people, that's what we do. Brenda, what do you do? It's the first day. It's the first day, and the exhibit hall's not open yet, so there'll be people showing. And then after that, it's just, then you can, if anybody heckles you guys, you can turn around and heckle everybody in the rest of the session. It'll be fine. So you got you got your sections, you got the narrative that was turned in, so you can see exactly what they saw. When you have questions, text me, call me, whatever, we'll get your questions answered. If you want any changes to your section, let me know by next Tuesday, and I'll make the changes. Come in and sit down, whatever you guys want to do. We can figure it out.
Are we ready to close?